The former Lille ace has been the most outstanding player in Naples, and he is well on his way to being the best in the world. Super Eagles head coach Jose Peseiro has boldly proclaimed that Napoli's talismanic striker Victor Osimhen is destined for the coveted Ballon d'Or accolade in the foreseeable future. Osimhen, 24, finds himself on a distinguished shortlist of 12 elite players vying for this year's Ballon d'Or alongside luminaries such as Lionel Messi, Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, Rodri, Julian Alvarez, Marcelo Brozovic, Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan, Kivcha Kvaratskhelia, Declan Rice and Bernardo Silva. Last season, Osimhen's prolific goal-scoring exploits propelled Napoli to clinch the Italian Serie A title for the first time since the iconic Diego Maradona era of 1990. Displaying remarkable finishing abilities, he notched an impressive tally of 26 goals in 32 matches, etching his name into the annals of Serie A history as the first African recipient of the top scorer title. Additionally, Osimhen claimed the accolade of the highest goal scorer in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualification campaign, amassing 10 goals as Nigeria secured a ticket to the upcoming Continental Showpiece in Côte d'Ivoire, set to take place in January. Now, I have Victor Godffrey back on the line. Victor, welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you were saying Victor Osimhen, your namesake, the first name anyway, would be a terrific branding image for all of Nigeria and maybe even all of Africa.
Yes, he would be. I mean, he has the face mask that is very iconic now in Naples. He has the tinted hair. Recognizable, he's tall, he's big, he has good looks, model good looks, slim build, fast, talented player. And like you mentioned, when you just read out his accolades, he's one of the best strikers in African football since perhaps Didier Drogba and Neto Fields. So it goes without saying that if Osimhen was around in 1995, I most likely would bet you that he will have won the Ballon d'Or because at the time, the Italian Serie A was the biggest league in the world at that time. But nothing against the players that he's with. I do not disagree with Peseiro, but the reality of the matter is that you have one man called Haaland, who I feel will win it or should win it. And Haaland has done so much, over 50 goals last season, won a treble. You can't argue that. But you're looking for an alternative. Victor Osimhen is that guy to lead the lights. And I feel he will be the African Footballer of the Year for sure. There's no way. If CAF doesn't give him that award, then something is fishy. So Victor Osimhen is the main man. 10 goals in qualifiers, the most by any African player, during the qualification series. And for Peseiro, it's good because in a few months' time, you need a player in that kind of form to help you. I mean, Peseiro keeps saying we'll win our 4th Nations Cup title. We'll put that to the test with Osimhen's performance and form. Hopefully, he can take us to that next level. But then again, Osimhen is the man. There's no doubt about that.
Well, with Peseiro's idea that Victor Osimhen could very well win the Ballon d'Or, if not this season with Erling Haaland because of the exploits of Lionel Messi during the World Cup, then very well in the very next edition, if he keeps his goal scoring up and Man City win everything as they have done in the last season, then he would be in line to win it then. But depending on if Victor Osimhen ends up in, say, Chelsea, maybe he takes over at Arsenal and leads the line to win them their league title, the thing that would crown the efforts and all of the development that Arteta has overseen at the club. And certainly he would settle the nerves at Stamford Bridge about Chelsea not being able to score, Nicholas Jackson not being the kind of goal scorer that is required to help them get over that final bit of hump that they seem to still be struggling with. If Victor Osimhen ends up in a Man United shirt, in a Arsenal shirt, or maybe even Tottenham Hotspur, because no one knows, Richarlison might just not be the final product they need in front of goal. if he helps whatever club he gets to play in, and of course, are limited to the Premier League because not a lot of clubs in world football can afford the kind of transfer fee that Napoli are currently demanding, and certainly the kind of wages that would be expected of a player at his level to demand, because everyone else right now playing at his level would be demanding upwards of £400,000 weekly. So I say that I limit it to the Premier League because obviously Real Madrid are going to go for Kylian Mbappe next season, so long as the money is not ridiculous. If he signs a new contract with PSG, it seems Barcelona have found a way for them to rejig and put some spark back into their forward line. Lewandowski is going to be there for maybe another 2 seasons. Vitor Roque is coming from Brazil eventually. He will possibly take over that position. And there's still Ferran Torres, who can play as a false number 9. So those 2 giants are secure. And PSG have gotten their 2 strikers. So again, those are my reasonings for thinking Victor Osimhen will eventually end up in the Premier League, and wherever he ends up, if they win the Champions League, if they pick up the Premier League title, because the way Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo have changed the criteria for determining who should win the Ballon d'Or at the end of the year, it's down to whose team does best in world football. And if he manages to get into one of those teams and Man City miss out on a Champions League title, maybe even the Premier League, Victor Osimhen in a couple of seasons could very well win the Ballon d'Or. Don't you think?
Well, he could. But the reality, there was a factor you missed out with every potential scenario you painted, and that is the Saudi Pro League. Don't forget, there was a massive push for him during the transfer window, and I think it was rejected. And we know that there's money. These guys have money. There's money to splash. Now, the question now is, will Osimhen do the Nigerian and or stereotypical African thing and go for the box, or will he fight for a legacy? Now, the reality of the matter is that these clubs you mentioned, Chelsea, United, Arsenal, maybe Barca,
maybe
these
even
are all
Tottenham.
teams that potentially could, or even Tottenham, which I feel is like more or less like a wild card.
Yeah.
These are all players. Even Liverpool at one
Although
point,
there is Newcastle,
there's also
plenty of money
Newcastle
there.
Exactly. So it's possible. The potential for Osimhen is there. However, it's up to him to choose where he wants to go to and look for the best club that fits his style of play, or better still, can help him develop to the next level. Because I still feel Osimhen has a few more clicks to go. Last season was his breakout year, in my opinion. Yes, he had a great year at Lille, but he struggled in his first season at Napoli with injuries. He missed the Nations Cup in 2022. And then he came back with a bang last season, 26 league goals, like you mentioned, 5 in the Champions League, prolific striker at both feet, physical, strong, powerful, pacey, precise finishing. But there's still room for improvements. He needs to be that world-class player like a Haaland. I mean, if Osimhen can give us guaranteed 30 league goals, not in all competitions, like 30 league goals a season, then we are talking about that potential to be the first.
I mean, Erling Haaland is a
to
cheat
well.
code. I mean, I play simulation football. I don't want to mention the specific game, but I'm sure you know. He clocks about 80 goals on average a season. So I think at this point, as long as he stays in Man City, goal scoring will never be a problem for him. And as things stand, when you listen to pundits, no one cares that he doesn't do enough to help the build-up of the play. No one cares that his first touch is not always secure. No one cares about all the other criteria that strikers like Karim Benzema, Harry Kane have come to make us feel are necessary assets that every striker in the modern game should have. As long as he's at Man City, opportunities will abound for him, and he is bigger, stronger than almost every striker in the game. So he will score plenty of goals. That is not up for debate. My thing is that if Victor Osimhen can do everything else that Haaland isn't quite up to scratch at doing, and can still tally a decent amount of goals, 30, 35 goals, maybe even 40 goals in a season where maybe his team, and it could happen with Napoli, they could go all the way and win the Champions League. So if that happens in the next couple of seasons, I think Victor Osimhen could very well be the first Nigerian to take the Ballon d'Or. Or am I wrong on that?
I agree. I agree, because actually he's the first Nigerian since Kanu Nwankwo to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or in a very long time. That's for starters, and we all know how much of a legend Kanu Nwankwo was during his playing days. Also, to add to what you just mentioned, I feel minus having maybe 35 goals this season, I feel he needs to also have success with the national team. Imagine he wins the Nations Cup with Nigeria next year in Cote d'Ivoire, and then he goes on to maybe win the Champions League, ends up being the capocannoniere in the Italian Serie A, that is the top scorer. I mean, I said Haaland scores 100 goals a season, and the Man City wins everything again in football. Then you can say, okay, Haaland will get everything. But for now, for me, I even feel Messi is a stretch, because let's be honest, winning the World Cup is good, but I don't think it compares to the.
But Lionel Messi is the darling of world football, especially when it comes to these administrations, these institutions of football, the Ballon d'Or, FIFA, UEFA. He has always been favored, highly favored, so much so that one particular manager recently came out and accused the World Cup of being rigged in Argentina's favor. But I won't digress that far.
That's Louis van Gaal.
I wouldn't digress that far. You know what? Okocha goes by JJ. He was so good, they nicknamed him twice. And, Kanu Nwankwo went by Papilo for a long time. If Victor Osimhen does the unthinkable and wins the Ballon d'Or, what nickname are we giving him? The chosen
to be honest,
one?
I do not know.
The masked one.
I think
Zorro.
I think it has one. Huh?
I think we give him Zorro and be done with it.
There we go. That's actually very clever, Mukai. That's actually good. You can give him Zorro, but Zorro is not in Nigerian. It's not in Nigerian. It's more like Spanish.
We'll add an extra O to it, Zorro, and we'll be done with it.
That's a good one.
All right. Manchester United goalkeeper Andre Onana